In this lesson, you will operate the Cabin Attendant Panel, or CAP, to control cabin systems, do ground tests, and look at faults in the Cabin Services System, or CSS. You will find the CAPs and identify the main menu. You will use the CAP to operate and monitor the Cabin Services System and identify normal and non-normal indications. You will use the CAP Maintenance menu to identify system faults and do Cabin Services System tests. You will also use the menu selections to identify and change the CSS software configuration. You will use the CAP Applications menu to identify existing cabin log entries and enter a new fault. In this module, you will operate the Cabin Attendant Panel, or CAP, cabin controls to identify the normal and non-normal indications. The Cabin Attendant Panels control and monitor passenger systems in the cabin area. The three CAPs are at flight attendant stations near passenger entry doors, 1 left, 2 left, and 4 left. The CAPs are in the modules above the attendant seats. All CAPs are the same part number and operate the same. You can change the software to let a panel control all or some of the cabin zone areas. This panel is at door 2 left. When the Cabin Services System has power, the CAP Main Menu screen shows. This is the CAP Main Menu. You can select Cabin Controls, Cabin Maintenance, or Cabin Applications to see other menu selections. A password can be necessary to get access to the CAP Main Menu. The airline sets the password. Show the Cabin Controls menu. The Cabin Controls menu has different areas. The screen title is along the top of the screen. At the top of the left column is the main menu selection. Down the left side are the menu selections. The airline can set the default screen for cabin controls. You can select menu items on the left side or go back to the main menu. Selection of some items will show more menu selections. The lighting selection shows a list of cabin lighting that you can monitor and control. Some systems have components in more than one area of the cabin. For these systems, you must select a cabin area. The Airplane Select Area screen shows to let you select an area. A selection at the bottom lets you select all areas. The Cabin Scene Lighting menu for the selected area shows what lighting is on. The current scene area near the top shows the selected scene. The area below this shows the scene selections. A scene is a programmed sequence of light intensity, color, and time. You can control some CSS functions by seat location, such as reading lights or chimes. To see how to control a system by seat location, select the Attendant Call menu now. Menus show for Service Call, Chime Control by Area, and Chime Control by Seat. The selections let you control the passenger to attendant chimes. Show the screen that you use to control the chimes by a seat. The Chime Control by Seat menu lets you select a seat to disable or enable the chimes. You can move up or down to see all the seats. The seat icons change color to show status. You set the seat control off and on with selections on the right side. Reading lights by seat also has this type of menu. A pop-up window will show on the CAP screens if the CAP Services System Controller, or CSSC, finds a problem with the cabin systems. Pop-up windows show for many system non-normal conditions. The pop-up window shows the condition and correction data. A selection shows in the pop-up window to go back to the CAP menu. A pop-up window shows on all CAP screens for lavatory smoke, potable water low, waste tank full, and other system problems. More than one pop-up window can show with the most important on top. If a system failure or a cabin decompression occurs, some screen controls will have a lockout. Close the pop-up window. Good. You closed the waste tank full pop-up window. You go to the water waste tank status menu to do a check of the system. In this module, you will operate the CAP cabin maintenance controls and identify normal indications. The airplane is at the gate and has ground power. You must do a check of the cabin services system before the next flight. This is the CAP main menu. If a password is necessary to get access to the selected menu, a pop-up virtual keypad shows. To do a check of the system, go to the Cabin Maintenance menu. The Cabin Maintenance menu has 3 areas. The screen title is at the top of the screen with Main Menu and Help selections. On the left side, below the top of the screen, the menu items show. You use the Cabin Maintenance menu to select the cabin tests, cabin data load, cabin configuration status, cabin faults reports, configuration reports, and cabin reports to CIS menus. The left side selections let you do usual maintenance functions such as fault reporting, software configuration checks, fault checks, component software updates, and cabin services system tests. Other menus show for some selections. Use the Cabin Maintenance menu to do a quick test of the Cabin Services System, CSS. Continue. A quick test does not cause CSS components to operate. The quick test screen shows what the test will do and how long the test will operate. The quick test screen changes when the Start Test selection is made. The elapsed time counter starts. Quick test is operating shows. When the test is done, elapsed time counter stops. Quick test is operating changes to Quick Test Complete. The Quick Test screen shows the faults that the Cabin Services System Controller CSSC finds. The CSSC cannot find some lighting faults, such as low intensity and reading light alignment. You can manually control the lights with a Cabin Tests menu and then look for visual faults. Select the menu necessary to do this. Continue. The Lamp Test menu shows these selections. Color lighting lets you do tests of the full color cabin lights. White lighting lets you do tests of the work, entry, and lavatory lights. Select the menu item that controls the reading lights. You use the Lamps Test white lighting menu to control the white lights in the cabin. This can help in troubleshooting a lighting problem that does not show as an internal fault during a cabin test. After you do a check of the lights, you use the Reset All selection to set the cabin lights back to normal operation. You use the Cabin Faults Reports menu to see the results of the last quick test and all test. Select the Cabin Faults Reports menu now. Continue. This is the Cabin Services System Fault Summary Report screen. The data comes from the CSSC. If you replace a component or change cabin configuration, you must do a check of the cabin software. Do this now. Continue. The Configuration Check menu shows the hardware and software part numbers, modification levels, manufacturing dates, and serial number of all related units. You use the Cabin Data Load menu to give software to the Cabin Services System components. You must move the configuration software in the CSS-C to do a different component before you remove the CSS-C. Do a backup of the CSS-C software. Continue. Continue. Backup to CAP storage device. Good. You use the Backup to CAP storage device menu to copy the CSS-C software to the CAP. Now you can remove the CSS-C. You use the Restore to CSS MSD menu to copy the software back into the new CSS-C after CSS-C installation. In this module, you will operate CAP Cabin Applications controls and identify the normal indications. The airplane is at the gate with ground power on. When the Cabin Services System, CSS, has power, the CAP main menu screen shows. From the CAP main menu, you can make selections to show the cabin controls, cabin maintenance, or cabin applications menus. If a password is necessary, a pop-up window will show. You use the Cabin Applications menu to show the Cabin Logbook home page. You use the Cabin Logbook to enter cabin items, look at open items, and see Cabin Logbook history. Show the Cabin Logbook home page. This is the Cabin Logbook home page. The Record Cabin Defects selections let you enter cabin faults with help or manually. The View Cabin Defects selections let you see cabin faults. You cannot do a sign-off of cabin faults from these menus. You must do the sign-off from the Electronic Flight Bag, or EFB, Electronic Logbook, or ELB. The View Communication Status selection lets you see messages from the Cabin Services System. You can enter a cabin fault with the Manual Defect Recording selection or Assisted Defect Recording selection. There is a fault with a seat power outlet at seat 56K. Enter the cabin defect in the cabin logbook with Assisted Defect Recording. The process bar on the left side of the menu shows the steps used to enter a defect. First, you must select a system. Show the correct system to record the defect. Select seats. A list of seat problems shows. The problem is selected for you from the list. You must now enter the seat location. The Choose the Location of the Defect menu shows. Select the location of the defect. Select Seat Location. After you select seat location, enter seat 56K with a virtual keypad pop-up. Now you must add more data about the seat defect. Select Add Details. You use the Enter Additional Details menu to enter more data about the defect. You use Review and Sign after you enter all of the data. You can also enter data manually. but a list of defects and locations will not show. Enter the cabin defect in the cabin logbook with manual defect recordings. After you select Manual Defect Recording, the Enter Cabin Defect Information menu shows. On this screen, the necessary data shows with a red asterisk. You enter the location and type of defect in the Detail of Defect text block. Go to the Review and Sign menu. This is the Review and Sign menu that shows after the selection of Manual Defect Recording or Assisted Defect Recording. This menu shows the cabin fault data and has areas that you must complete before the defect shows as an open item in the cabin logbook. You use the View Open Items menu to show cabin defects that have not been corrected. Show the open cabin defects. The Open Items List menu shows all cabin and IFE log defects that are not corrected. You select an item and then View to show more data about the defect. You use the View History menu to show cabin defects that have been corrected. Show the closed cabin defects. You can only enter cabin defects or look at history from the cabin logbook. After you select View History, the View Maintenance Logs and Maintenance Actions menu shows. You can see the maintenance actions for the closed cabin defects. All maintenance actions completed in the EFB/ELB Technical Logbook or Maintenance Logbook show if the cabin services system has communication with those applications. In this lesson, you operated the Cabin Attendant Panel, or CAP, to control cabin systems, did ground tests, and looked at faults in the Cabin Services System, or CSS. You can use the CAP to operate and monitor the Cabin Services System and identify normal and non-normal indications. You used the CAP menu to control the cabin lighting and see non-normal indications. You used the CAP Maintenance menu to identify system faults and did Cabin Services System tests. You used the menu selections to identify and change the CSS software configuration. You used the CAP Cabin Applications menu to identify the cabin log entries or the selections to make an entry.